15 Minutes with Riz, interview with Theory of a Deadman, and a Tiny Stall concert, all in one episode. All that and more today on the Number 2 Show. What up, you shitheads, you dingleberries? Shout out to my Bow Patrol, baby Bow Patrol, baby Bow Patrol. Ooh, that sounded sexy. The Bow Patrol. Baby, you in the Bow Patrol? I don't know what I'm going to call my fans. I think about it every week. We'll figure it out. May never change. But welcome to the Number 2 Show Studios, brought to you by 18 North Central Tactical Laser Tag. I'm your host, Rafe Williams, and I am excited about today's show, man. I am ready to kick it off. I got special guests out the ass today. I'm excited. We got a musical performance coming up. I got Theory of a Deadman for an interview. And right now, let's get it started with the tried and true segment with an always special guest, my buddy, Scott Rizzuto, in a segment I like to call 15 Minutes with Riz, sponsored by Rogers Service and Towing. Welcome to the show, Scott Rizzuto, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
He's setting his timer for 15 minutes.
Yep.
He is my trusty partner in crime, my Tonto to my Lone Ranger.
Yeah, I'll be a sidekick. I love it.
The Robin to my Batman. The Thelma to my Louise, if you will. It's my buddy Scott Rizzuto, and he's sitting in for the first 15.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to chop it up. Are you I got Theory of a Deadman on the show today. Are you a big fan?
Yeah, when I was a music jock, and I used to call him Theory of a Nickelback.
You did?
Yeah, I mean, they were very similar sounding.
Yeah, they were signed by, I'm going to talk about that with them. I think they were signed by
Chad from Nickelback. I think he helped write a lot of their first record, if I'm not mistaken.
That might be true.
I'm usually correct about these things,
well,
because I am a music encyclopedia.
You are a music aficionado. That is one thing I will say about
Not
you.
modern music, though. Like modern music, I'm terrible. I don't know what the kids are into.
No, you don't know.
My basic music knowledge stopped 2009. Anything after that,
You're out.
I'm out.
Well, I can't blame you for that. It was kind of a wild weekend I had. I was running around all over the place. Went to an Oktoberfest. Event. Are you you go to any of these Oktoberfest things, man?
The last Oktoberfest event I was at the Oktoberfest in St. Charles. Great. Loved it. We used to do an Oktoberfest thing at the brewery, the Anheuser-Busch Brewery, every year. That's always a good time. I like drinking a big stein of beer.
Yeah, I hosted while I was there, I hosted a beer stein holding competition, which is what I was going to talk to you about. And it was interesting because you have 20 people come out. Mm-hmm. You got to hold a full stein of beer. I don't know how big they are. Out in front of you, 90-degree angle. Can't put your thumb on the handle. Can't arch your back. You got to hold it steady. 20 contestants. One guy gets out there. Old man, gray hair, crew cut. Looks like he got out of the Marines. Definitely a boomer. And I'm like, his name's like Harold Steinbeck or something. I mean, he's got the name of this guy's a heavy.
Those things are 5 pounds, by the way, full.
Okay.
Like a beer stein full is around 5 pounds.
Yeah. So this guy slaughtered everybody, dude. He made it 12 minutes. By 5 minutes out of 20 people, I think 16 were gone. A lot of young dudes, a lot of guys with show muscles, a lot of young strapping dudes, and I'm like, I just watched it happen, and I'm like, you know what? This dude was like RoboCop, man. His arm didn't move. He was staring off in the middle distance.
He had that grandpa strength.
It's that old man strength, and I want to talk about that, dude.
Yeah.
Will we have it?
Yeah. Well,
is this the last generation that's going to have old man strength? Because it's the thing that we always rag on boomers. Mm. But the one thing they're right about is I think they are tougher than us.
You know what? Here's the thing. Like my son, and you know my son, he's 15 years old. He's a hockey player. He's on the ice every day. He's got a six-pack. When he's not on the ice, he's working out. He's shredded. Okay, walks around my house with his shirt off all the time. I'm like, dude, come on, man.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see you flex.
Yeah.
But I've got the dad strength.
100%, dude.
I've got the dad strength, and I could still take him out back and whip his ass if I had to. We may come down to that, setting up the old cage outside, and you think you can take on your old man? I got the dad strength thing going on.
Yeah. It's a real thing.
It's a real thing.
And even older brother, I'm the oldest brother, and my little brother's way bigger than me. My little brother looks like John Cena. He's 10 years younger than me. By all rights, this kid could kick my ass.
On paper.
On paper, he could kick my ass, but I still believe I know his weaknesses. I've known him his whole life. I know where his Achilles heels are. I know where to hook and grab. I think I could still hold my own and kick his ass.
But what's with the old man?
Yeah.
The old man being able to hold out a 5-pound stein of beer. So it's 34 ounces of liquid. So the stein itself, is probably 3 pounds.
100%.
2 pounds of liquid inside 34. And you have strapping young 20-somethings who are like, I could take on the old man.
Yeah.
And they can't. They can't do it.
He destroyed the field in a way that I was narrating the thing, and I'm just like, Harold blinked twice if you're I thought rigor mortis had set in. I thought Harold died holding his beer stein, and rigor mortis had set in because he was so stiff. Everybody else shaking.
Yeah.
Beers spilling out of the stein. I'm talking young dudes.
I think it may be. I think that at a certain age, you're not in your head. You're just loose. You're loose. When you're young and you're out to prove something, Harold ain't out to prove anything. Harold loves the fact that he gets up every morning.
Yeah.
Is he retired? Probably. Mm-hmm. Probably not a care in the world.
It's possible. My theory is this: Harold had that tan, leathery skin of a roughneck, and a mustache, salt and pepper, gray hair, crew cut. Couple tattoos on his forearms.
Harold does not have the weight of life weighing him down.
And he had, he kind of had that beer belly of a dad who drinks about 7 or 8 Coors Lights in the driveway every night.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, dude, his arm was an unbreakable bridge to victory. And I was just like, what do you do, man, after the thing? And after the contest, he's like, yeah, I've been hauling heavy equipment since the 70s.
Yeah.
He had a gruff voice, and I'm like, man.
He's seen it all. He's done it all.
And his body is that is 50 years of manual labor, all coming to fruition to a contest he didn't even know he was training for. That guy's been drinking beer and pulling up heavy equipment, loading it onto trucks, and working that blue-collar life. And I just realized, man, I want to admit something. I think, look, the Boomers are just tougher. They fought. He was just like staring off in the middle distance thinking about a time he had to fight a Nazi. These young guys are staring off. They're thinking about, they were mewing, every generation gets a little softer, dude. And I hate it.
It is. The 20-somethings are all pissed off they got blocked on Twitter for something.
That's what I'm saying.
The Boomer was out there in the jungles of Vietnam fighting Charlie.
Exactly. He was like thinking about, he's like, I'm standing on a landmine that I'm going to fall into a punching pit.
He probably held his buddy as his buddy died in his arms.
Yeah, dude.
And you're worried somebody didn't give you a follow back on Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. And it goes every generation. Like, we're Gen X / we straddle the line of Gen X and millennials. We're pretty tough. We're the neutral generation.
We realize we're soft in some ways, but yet still hold the boomer ideals in other ways.
In some ways, we at least embrace half of their idealism of like, yeah, man, the world's, you're not going to break. You don't have to wear a helmet all the time. Drinking out of the hose ain't going to kill you. We took some of their ideals. And then by the time it got to the millennials, then it just gets a little softer and a little softer and a little softer as we go. And now, dude, I look at Gen Alpha. These guys are chewing on rubber balls to give themselves a chiseled jawline. It's called mewing. You familiar with this?
No.
So it's a thing. They've outlawed it in a lot of schools. It's like It's like a little rubber ball that goes in your mouth and you chew on it. And it's supposed to like give you a big chiseled Hollywood jawline. And I'm
stupid.
like, yeah, but that's where we're at. You know why? Harold, the guy that won the beer stein competition, has a chiseled jawline because he grinds his teeth at night thinking about killing Charlie.
Yeah, and you know what? We want our kids to suffer a little bit because we suffered, and we still hold that ideal very close to us. The next generation wants to eliminate all roadblocks for their kids.
Yeah, I'm just curious, like, do you think it'll reset the clock? Do you think at some point
The pendulum will swing back the other way.
That's what I'm asking. That's where you, brother, we're on the same wavelength. I wanted to get your opinion on this. Is this the generation it swings back? I feel like we've gotten so far into we went through the helicopter parenting of what was after millennials? Gen Z?
Millennials, Gen Z, then Gen Alpha.
Okay, so somewhere between millennials and Gen Z, this like kids running the household and helicopter parenting became a thing. And dude, I'm not sitting here. There were lots of stuff that I'm like, yeah, I'm glad that changed. There was stuff I had in my childhood that I'm like, yeah, you probably shouldn't just threaten to hit your kid with a belt every single time they do something wrong. That's not cool.
We would go to the park, and the park equipment was metal and rusted.
Yeah.
Now the kids don't go to the park to play; they go to playscapes. They're not jungle gyms anymore. They're playscapes with, if you fall off, it's soft, and everything's made of plastic. Right. And the kids will never know what it's like to burn your thighs on a metal slide.
Yeah.
In the middle of summer when it's 4,000 degrees out.
Yeah, you basically you're sliding down the thing that they made the space station solar panels out of, with your just little cargo shorts on, and the minute your calves touch when you get up at the top of the slide, it's third-degree burns. You're like Freddy Krueger on the band. You didn't care.
No, you didn't care.
Wasn't stopping
like
you.
You're sliding into I'm sliding into the sun.
Yeah, there was a slide on my playground that was closed down. And because the rumor was like some kid fell off and broke 10 bones and almost died. And all they did to close it off was like put a chain at the top of the ladder. One single chain at the top of the ladder, as if you couldn't just step over it when you got, no one was supervising us. And that was the slide we all went down all day long.
Do they still have the merry-go-rounds that you could just, the big metal ones that you just get as fast as you could get going?
Who knows? I mean, I haven't been to a playground in a long time. Not from a court order or anything like that. Just haven't gone. It is interesting to me, though. I am curious if we get to a point this generation where they start to care more about like toughening back up, because it always is on a pendulum, right? Everything from political correctness goes back and forth. Ideology goes back and forth. We're always caught in this, and I just feel like I don't know. It's the same thing of like you get so progressive at some point for kids. Kids want to push back, right? That every generation wants to push back on the one before it.
Yes.
So if everything is being catered to and everything is being, we have a generation where everything revolves around them and their comfort and their not ever having to face rejection and them never having to feel bad. And not that these are bad things. What could they possibly instill in their kids that wouldn't have to be the opposite?
Well, they start to find problems where there are no problems.
Okay. Tell me more about that.
I don't know how to explore that because, it comes with political correctness, and it comes with then banning words, and then, it snowballs that way. Where there is no problem, now we have to find problems because we were bored.
Right. Yeah. Well, in the end, old man strength wins, and will they grow into it? That's the other thing I want to know. Is it something that comes with age? Is it a guarantee? Like, am I going to be just a shredded 60-year-old guy because I've been out mowing the lawn and I got all this rage inside me?
Maybe you won't be shredded, but you'll be stronger than the generation before you.
It's interesting.
And they, in turn, will be stronger than the generation that comes after them.
Because you didn't want to fight your dad or your grandpa. Honestly, I thought my grandpa, he was a bricklayer. I was like, man, yeah, he walked around with a limp, but I'm just like, man, that guy, I feel like he knows where to like grab a hold of you at that could just incapacitate you immediately.
There's going to be a point where my son will be able to kick my ass.
Sure.
Will it be tomorrow? Probably not. Will it be next year? I think it'll be a good fight. But there's going to be the time. There's going to be the time where I'm going to offer to, hey, I'm going to go out back and kick your ass. He just go, yep, let's do it. And I'm going to get my ass kicked.
You're right. That day comes for us all. How much time do we have left together? I have something I want to talk to you about.
About a minute, 5 seconds.
Okay, well, we're not going to get to that. So, that being said, I will ask you one final question.
Yes.
If you had to choose Theory of a Deadman cover for them to sing here today, do you have a song in mind?
Yes. Theory of a Deadman covering Nickelback's Photograph.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll see if they walk out of the studio when I ask them to do that. They're actually really cool dudes. I'm excited to talk to them.
I've met them before. They're great people. Very talented group. Lead singer Tyler, I believe was his
Tyler.
name. Tyler Connolly.
Yep.
Okay, got it.
Good
dude, hell of a musician. You'll have fun with them.
Yeah, I was talking to them in the green room, as it were, and they seemed like cool dudes, ready to chop it up, ready to have a good time, and I'm excited to hang out with them.
Well, without further ado, I'm getting the hell out of here then.
Well, that concludes this segment, coming to you from the number 2 studios, sponsored by 18 North Central Tactical Laser Tag. 15 Minutes with Riz has ended. We'll be back after a word from our sponsors. Bye, Riz. Bye. And we're back to the number 2 show here in the studios for 18 North Central Tactical Laser Tag. And I am going to just keep things rolling because I have a very special interview for you guys today. Let's get to a segment I like to call The Annals of History.
From the Annals of History.
And what better way to celebrate the annals of history than a historic band? Please welcome to the studio, Theory of a Deadman.
What's up?
Hey, I love how, like, laser tag now, we're trying to get as close to what it really feels like to be in real war.
To be shot, yes.
But, yeah, soon they'll have, like, when you get shot, you crap your pants, and it's like, and then you have people that literally are going, are in war, and they're
Paintball is the closest thing you can get, but laser tag's pretty fun without, getting hurt for real.
Dude, I'll tell you what, I went out to this guy's place, and it is like, the guns are, each gun's like $2,500 a piece.
Oh, it sounds amazing.
And they have like, you have to go reload the clip. It kicks like a real gun. It's like, they really are simulating like,
it's like Judge Dredd.
Honestly, dude, it's like being in GoldenEye. It's like living, like your 13-year-old you is like, this is fucking the tits.
Well, that's where we're going after this, so.
Hey, let's go, dude. I would love to go out
there. GoldenEye. I saw something, and it was like on Instagram, and it was like how you broke up with your friends, and it was just like it was playing GoldenEye. What was the Street Fighter? It was just video games where you had to fight your friend, and that's how you break up with your friends.
Oh yeah,
that's what started every fight with your friends was playing video games against them. GoldenEye, and then you shoot them like 5 times in a row, and they're like,
then it'd get personal. I had it like, it would devolve into something personal where it's like, dude, you fucking that shit. No wonder Shauna broke up with you. And you're like, whoa, dude, where'd that come from?
You're a loser. You've always been a loser.
Yeah. Everybody talks shit on you at that slumber party, and I don't blame them. And like, I didn't know. You shouldn't have told me about that.
You totally shit your pants in 3rd grade.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Exactly. It devolves quickly. Are you both video game guys?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yep.
What's the creme de la creme of the Theory of a Deadman?
NHL,
Chell. I can't stand that. That's like saying mid or cap. Chell.
Yeah, we like to play the hockey. We're true Canadians. We like to play NHL. I guess there's a new one out now, so we're gonna have to buy the new one.
Now, I would imagine that devolves into some fights on the road.
We've turned it into a team building exercise because we all 4 play on the same team. Although we do get held accountable mostly by team captain Tyler over there if you leave your position and then we get a goal scored against, and he's like, yeah, who's playing center?
Yeah, I'll slip it in there a little bit. I'm like, who's center?
Who's the centerman there? And we all know who the centerman is.
Tyler,
who's pin? You know, we wouldn't get scored on guys if you guys keep pinching there behind the net.
Hey, has to be said.
Yeah, does Tyler show up on the tour bus with a C he's loosely stitched to his own jacket?
Yeah, I give him the C. He's a stay-at-home defenseman, and that's hard to find in video game hockey.
Yeah, well, I'm usually locked in position, so I can't just go skate around behind the net and puck hog. So, yeah, I have to be the guy that yells at everybody.
Somebody's got to do it, man. That's an unsung hero. And you guys were talking earlier when you showed up. I was peeping Tyler's Chuck Taylor's got some Dungeons and Dragons.
Get those? I can't. That's as far as I can.
Pop them out there, bud. Put them out there. Let the world see.
For years,
flag fly, man.
For years, people were saying D&D's lame. D&D's lame. You know. So we were saying it too.
Now it's hot.
Now they're still saying it.
Now it's
Now we just own it.
Yeah. Now, how old are you guys? Just
mid-40s.
Okay.
18.
So we're all about the same age. Did you go through satanic panic when your mom, like my mom, wouldn't let me play D&D? Because she was like, no, that's how the devil gets in. Like, and granted, I grew up in like the Midwest. Maybe it was different in Canada. Canada seems a little more chill.
Yeah, my mom couldn't be happier to get me out of the house. It's like, oh, you're going to play D&D with your friends? Go, see ya.
Yeah. No,
So if the door's locked when you get home, just sleep outside.
Yeah, my parents just were. It was like, you know, the typical just be home by dinner, or when the street lights come on, you just ride your bike home. My parents didn't care what I did.
You were like, Mom, you have no idea how long this fucking campaign is.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Be home by dinner. This is a 4-day campaign.
Yeah, Mom, we may have to get some super big gulps.
Yeah, we got huge big gulps filled with Jolt Cola.
Yeah.
That's cool. And did you guys grow up together in Canada? What did you know each other growing up?
High school, I guess, right?
Yeah. So did you grow up in a metropolitan area or
Suburbs.
Suburbs.
The burbs.
Yeah.
So was there a lot of like, you know, that means we're of the generation that's the Oregon Trail generation, you know, where we bridge the gap between
Oregon Trail.
Well, that's what they call it, I believe. Yeah. It's like the zillennials, you know, like we bridge the gap, like life before cell phones and like, but didn't, you know, we fully embraced the technology. So, because I always talk about when I was, you know, we just had a movie night here in St. Louis where we got to show 2 old movies, and we did Goonies and Lost Boys.
Awesome.
Great flicks. And, dude, seeing them on the silver screen, never seen Goonies, never seen Lost Boys, seeing a whole generation of kids laugh at those movies was awesome. But I was like, man, all you wanted when you were a kid was just like just to have like the adventure, right? Like we all wanted the Goonies to happen to us.
Yeah.
And I would ride my bike all around with my buddies, you know, live in imagination land and try to like make these adventures happen for ourselves. Was it kind of like that where you grew up?
Yeah, that's why you're throwing rocks at abandoned houses and stuff. You're hoping somebody's going to actually come out and or you can fall through some hole.
Oh, yeah.
We did all that stuff.
Cougar Canyon was like kind of by my house, so we would go to Cougar Canyon. I had a bow, and like my friend would have a night. We'd go through there, wear like fatigues, and go through there and try to like find. There was a creature we thought lived there. We'd find prints, be like, "This is not. This is alien."
Yes. We had a code. We had a code for like kind of our 18, 19. 17, 18, 19 years. It was parks and ditches. It was like, what's going on tonight? You weren't allowed to drink at anybody's house. So it'd be like, what's going on? Parks and ditches.
Yeah.
Get some to buy you booze.
And you're just, you got a plastic bag with beers and you're just like hitting the parks and ditches trying to avoid trouble.
Yeah, sitting under a pavilion.
You always find trouble.
I was like, we got locked out of the house. I always said like, my mom would lock us out when her soap operas came on, and that was it. You weren't getting back in the house until afternoon, and if you had to take a shit, you were in trouble.
Oh yeah,
you had to become like a cagey Southern lawyer and like try to make your case to get in the house. Like, ma'am, I must insist you let me step into your parlor.
This is all making sense now. Us sitting in shitting stalls right now.
Yeah, man,
it's all starting to come back. Some trauma.
It is. It's a lot of trauma I haven't unpacked, and I appreciate you guys seeing me.
Is now a good time to flush?
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody turn and flush. We'll put that sound effect in later.
This is the sound. Cool, this is the sound you don't want to hear when you're at a venue.
Oh no!
At your girlfriend's house.
Or your girlfriend's house. You're like, oh God, I have to break up with her. I have to leave.
Yeah, it's bad. I had to pick up had to pick up a turd with a hot curling iron one time out of the toilet,
Oh,
throw it in the
my
trash
God.
can on a double date. And
A hot curling iron.
Hold on a
just-
sec. So you plugged it in.
I didn't plug it in,
Hot
but
curling
you know what
iron.
I'm talking about. The
It's
girls
plugged
have
in.
the curling iron
Yeah.
with
Oh,
the
yeah.
little thumb piece. It's the perfect turd clamp.
tongs.
When you're in a.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
an emergency situation, guys.
Did
Hair
you
crimper.
tap it twice before you grabbed it? You're like,
I did.
Like
It was
tongs,
actually, yeah.
right?
It was a very curly
Barbecue.
turd.
It's just a kielbasa. Yeah, it's like back in the 80s they had the crimpers, so you could I guess you could take
Yeah.
the shit with the crimper and then you've got a crimped
Yeah.
piece of shit.
Yeah, you got a crimp piece of shit.
Oh,
It's gonna be
goodness.
the name of this podcast, by the way. Crimp piece of shit. with
And then
Gary
you
the
didn't tell
Deadman.
anyone, right? You just put the curler back and then when
Dude,
she
no,
plugged it
fuck
in.
no. And then they just threw it in the trash can, covered it with a bunch of toilet paper. But then the next thing I know, they're like, "Let's get ready to go out to the club," and they come down with their hair curled, and I'm like, "I can't." I turned into Jerry Seinfeld. I'm like, "I know she has poop in her hair. I'm out. I'm fucking out. This is over. This relationship's over." And that's just how it went down. But it was interesting. Tyler, you said something earlier, and I want to circle back to it. You said you used to get in fatigues and bows and blades and stuff when you were a kid. Because it's Halloween season. And I was talking about, I don't know if you guys did this growing up, man, but like my friends and I were like doing the ghost hunters thing before. I wish I'd have known. We would get like an old camcorder and go find an abandoned farmhouse, just like you said, and be like, "There's a creature in there, dude.
Yep.
This fucking electrical wire looks like a noose, dude. That's a sign. The devil worshippers."
100%.
And it was just fun to go out with your friends and like scare yourselves.
You guys you haven't grown out of that, have you? Because I bought 45 acres in Alabama, and I live that to this day now. My wife swears she's heard like horn instruments playing in the distance in
That's
the woods.
Blair Witch.
And I'm like, yeah, it's some kind of old Civil War horns or something probably. Just make up stories. Found an old truck on the back of my land that has a bullet hole right behind the driver's seat.
Really?
Yeah, it's just buried in the ground, this old truck.
It's awesome.
That's all I
It's a
do.
murder for sure.
Yeah,
That's a ghost.
Yes, correct. And you find that as a kid, that's it, dude. You've concocted a whole story around. I mean, we had an old church that we found some rabbit bones in. We're like, devil worshippers are here on Halloween, dude. We're going to get our pellet guns.
It went
We're
down.
Gonna fucking run them out of this town.
Pellet guns.
We
Yeah.
had a plan to get pellet guns, and we rehearsed. In fact, this is embarrassing, but you guys seem cool, so I feel vulnerable. So when somebody like on a train trestle spray painted like 666 in a pentagram, probably just some kids, skater kids or something. And me and my pals were like, "Oh, fuck that, dude! No devil worshippers in our town." And we wrote like, "This Halloween." It was a very long message with spray paint. This
Multiple
Halloween,
pages.
we're coming for you, and we signed it the Guardian Angels. It was the lamest thing in the world. And then
Guardian
I love it.
yeah, dude. We were gonna come, and and then somebody got grounded. The weapons supplier, my friend Mike, had all the pellet guns, and he's like, "I got grounded, man. I got a D in history." And we're like, "Well, we're fucked."
Where can you drop the weapons?
Exactly.
And we did. We were like, "Can you hide the guns in a culvert, and we'll pick them up?" Like, yeah, we were trying to do all that. It's just funny to hear.
I love it.
And refreshing to hear that it's kind of the same everywhere, man. Like you guys.
It's the same.
We would push the envelope. I remember we would make tripwires. We built these things.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and they worked. Like we'd make a tripwire and you'd take an old
Claymore.
yeah, we'd take a grenade. No, it'd take a milk carton and you would fill it full of Coffee Mate. Used to be flammable. Do you remember Coffee Mate?
Oh yeah, dude. The
It used
powder.
it used to be flammable like gunpowder. Go. Pfft. So we would make this. It sounds like I'm making this up, but for real, you would make this thing where you would attach the thing to a thing of. I attach the striker of the matches with the paper clip to a string, so we'd strike the match, and it would work, and they would go. Pfft. So we'd set these things up in Cougar Canyon, and then we dug this hole once and filled it with spikes.
This is what happens when you watch Predator too many times. When you're like
for real, we used to
9 years
set up,
old.
like traps for this creature and then it turned out I'm not even kidding you. This jogger ran by and then fell in the hole. It was like a small hole, right? He'd fall in a hole, but his foot went in the hole where we had these spikes, and we're like, "Stop! No, look out!" And he was just like, "Fill that hole right fucking now!" He was so so angry.
I bet.
and you're like, you are
"We're
the
sorry,
monster.
sir. We're sorry, sir." Oh, we felt so bad.
Like, you'll thank me when I catch the Predator. And you're right, dude.
Might have just saved your life, Jogger.
Predator's one of the movies I've probably seen more than any. And I would argue, like, I stand hard for the original Predator because
yes.
I think it's two movies. And I always make this argument. You take the Predator out of it, it's still a pretty dope movie about a rescue team going into the jungle before the Predator even gets involved. Then you add the Predator. I'm like, this is basically two badass movies in one. I think it's highly underrated as maybe one of the best films in American cinema.
So good.
So, I mean, imagine writing that script and thinking, like, I've got multiple gold one-liners here. Get to the chopper.
Oh, yeah.
I ain't got time to bleed.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, stick around. They have so many good ones. Hey,
Unbelievable.
Predators. My dad, of course, obviously, my dad did so much illegal stuff. My dad had so many burnt movies. You know, back then, he'd rent a VCR, so then he'd record all of our rentals.
Fuck yeah, dude. My Aunt Patty did that.
Yeah, but they had copyright back then, right? So when you try to record a VHS, it would get all scribbly and turn black and white and stuff. So my dad had hundreds of movies, and he actually had a catalog that he printed off. And so my friends would come over, like, want to watch a movie? And it would be alphabetical. My friends come over, like, oh my God. And then every movie was like crap. It'd be like go into black and white and go all the sound. And they're like, this is shit. I'm like, I don't know. My dad.
It was top-notch security back then. I think it was like a little push tab on the actual cassette. You just knock it over, and it's like copyright turned off.
Yeah, but I remember watching Predator, and it was just like I had to watch it black and white with a bunch of scribble. The sound would come on
You're like,
and
this
off.
is the French version of Predator. It's very artsy. But dude, my Aunt Patty had that too. The first person that had like the double-headed VCR where they could like go to Blockbuster and then tape the shit.
Yeah.
So I go to my cousin's house. They got Polaroid VHSs with like, it'd be like, oh, this one has Ghostbusters, Spies Like Us, and Living in America, or Coming to America on it. And I'm like, this is the greatest night of my life.
Yeah, 100%. You can usually put 3 on one. You can get about 3 because you can do different speeds, right? So you can usually put about 3 on each.
Or at least
cassette.
2 3/4 and, figure out
exactly.
the rest of that last one.
Yeah.
Right. And Tyler, do you live in Alabama as well?
I'm in LA. I've been there for forever.
All right.
Might be there forever.
Yeah. So you like LA?
I love it. Yeah.
It's not
I'm a golfer, so I golf quite a bit.
really?
Weather, yeah. Pretty much pro at this point. I quit the band.
Pretty close.
Are you good for real?
No one's good at golf.
Dude, it is the only.
I would never say I'm good at golf because then it doesn't work that
Because
way.
then the golf gods will make
Yeah,
you bet.
exactly. You'll shoot like a 94 and be
You're
like,
right.
I really am good.
Yeah, golf
really
is
can
the
play.
only sport that I ever invested time in and got markedly worse. I was like, almost
nuts.
everything else you practice at, you see improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least stagnation.
It's a change in how bad you are. It's just a change in where you're bad.
Imagine picking up a guitar, you practice 5 days a week for a year, and you're worse than when you started.
Yeah. And you
And you keep doing it.
It's not like anything else.
These are conversations I have with my friends when we play golf. They're really, some of them having a bad round. I was like, I don't understand how, I don't get in a car and all of a sudden crash into a pole and don't know how to drive. Which one's the brake?
It's like playing
don't
guitar
do
for
that.
5 years and being worse, but it's like at some point during that time, in front of a pretty girl, you've wailed a Jimi Hendrix solo out of nowhere. And she's like, how did you do that? And you're like, I don't know, but I'm going to keep doing it to find out.
I'll do it again.
Because golf gives you little rewards where all of a sudden you look like you're the best golfer that ever lived.
Yep.
You played it. You made a shot that nobody else could have made.
Birdie on 18, that'll do it.
Yeah, it doesn't take much either. 6 good shots in 18 holes will keep you coming back for the dopamine hit.
It's a drug. It's literally a drug.
Yeah, it sucks. Did you? So Halloween's coming up. I wanted to ask you guys because I am ignorant. You grew up in Canada. Is Halloween just an American holiday, or was it big?
Yeah, we rocked it.
Oh, yeah.
We're same.
Halloween was
Canada
huge.
rocks.
We're mini America up there.
No, full fireworks, firecrackers, dressing up, all that.
Yep.
All that.
Did the whole thing.
Trick or treating.
You go until you're too old, where you go to your neighbors. They're like, "Get out of here!" You're like, "Fuck, all right."
Yeah, did you guys
40.
neighborhood hop to get the best candy?
Yes. Oh yeah.
And the good neighborhoods that are handing out the full size
Yeah,
chocolate
dude.
bars and
Yep. Yeah. The ones that
Yeah.
hanging out the.
there were Dean's neighborhood. Dean's not here today. He lived in
Well,
the
they made
rich
fun of him.
neighborhood in the hills.
He did.
Yeah. Dean was the rich
Like,
kid.
Mom, drop me off in the hills.
Yeah, you could tell me a guy was a full-blown pedophile, but if he was giving out full-size Snickers, I'm rolling the dice.
Yeah.
I'm going up there.
100%.
Oh yeah, there were some dudes in our neighborhood just giving out keys to their house.
There was a guy that gave out 50-cent pieces, and we were so poor that we would switch masks.
Oh
You know,
yeah,
we tried to make $3 off the dude. We'd be like, "Hey man, switch me costumes," and we'd go back up there and try to land, $3 goes a long way.
Oh,
when
yeah.
you're buying penny candy or whatever.
Hockey cards, couple packs of hockey cards.
We used to have to do the UNICEF thing. Remember? You had the box and the pennies.
Mm-hmm.
So every neighborhood, every mom would have the candy and then the little jar of pennies for the UNICEF. So you fill that sucker up with about 24 cents for your school.
It's pretty brilliant, right? They give you a little box to all these little kids and tell them to go door to door to fundraise while they're collecting candy for themselves.
I did that for a while. Pennies.
Nothing wrong with it. So are you guys Halloween guys? You love it?
Yep.
Yeah. We'll dress up.
Me too, man. I can't wait. Like we're doing we got a Halloween party next week. It's shipwreck themed. I'm going as Captain Ron.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice obscure Kurt Russell reference that only I will get, but it doesn't matter. It's for me. It's not for everybody else.
You could pull that off perfectly.
Did you guys ever have like homemade costumes at Halloween?
Of course.
100%.
Of course. My mom sewed my own clothes.
Bro.
Me and my sister matched.
Give me Tyler, give me what was your worst and best homemade Halloween costume?
Every year sucked because living in Canada, it would get cold. So my costume would have to be something over top of my winter jacket.
That's right.
So you'd wear a big puffy winter jacket and then I'd be a Frankenstein or vampire. And you just sucked. Your friends would be wearing shorts and a T-shirt. And you're like, how'd you get away with that? That's because their parents don't care.
Yeah.
I was a lion one time
I live
or
with my
something.
grandma.
Yeah, full lion, and it had like a mane that clips under your chin. And then, of course, you can't see the rest of the costume. So you're just a guy walking around with
just a lion's
an afro.
head.
Yeah.
So
you're like, this could be racially offensive.
Probably.
When you don't see the whole thing.
Probably was.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was Michael Jackson one year, and I asked my mom because, obviously there could be photos flying around. I was probably 8, so I get away with it. But I asked my mom,
I do it?
And I asked my mom, like, remember I was Michael Jackson one year? I had the glove. She's like, it was on blackface, was it? She's like, I don't think so. I don't remember, but
yeah,
that was the 80s. It
was a different time. I'll be honest with you guys. One year, my mom sent me to we didn't have any money, so it was like I just got what she made, and she sent me to the town parade dressed as Star Wars. Not a character, just a concept of Star Wars as she saw it in her head, which she painted me green, gave me bumblebee antenna with like an old barrette made out of pipe cleaner.
I love it.
An aluminum foil sword that she just like smashed together, and silk paisley like fuck robe that my dad used to wear. Where I'm like, you had sex with my dad. And
your dad's jizz was crusty on.
Like, automatically I assume I'm a Sith Lord. There's no Jedi. You never seen a Jedi fighting anyone in their dad's fuck robe, not once in any of the trilogy.
No, you're just a dude at the cantina.
Qui-Gon Jinn had a fuck robe.
You're right. Maybe I was Qui-Gon, but Qui-Gon wasn't around then.
Telling you, no, you were.
I was ahead of my time.
You were just in the background at the cantina.
But I had the same experience, Tyler. Where like I'm at the parade. I'm feeling sorry for myself. I'm kicking rocks. I'm like, I guess I'm a Sith Lord. My fucking little fuck robe, and then I see my little brother, kindergarten. He's coming through the pack, and she let him go with Steve Urkel, and it's as bad as you're picturing. In your mind, it was the same thing. He's in suspenders and like borderline blackface, asking everybody, "Did I do that?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, Whitey, you
did.
And
you did
it. We've been doing it for hundreds of years, and now you got to pay.
Just cancel your own family member.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, through no malice, my mom basically canceled my little brother in kindergarten.
Yep, she knew.
So
can never be president.
Those things happen. Yeah. And I don't know if there's a picture floating around somewhere, dude. So,
find it, dude. That's
it.
Great.
Blackmail his ass.
That's right.
Do you guys have a Halloween show this year?
It's the day before. We're playing a show the night before, I think. So we have Halloween off, so probably go to some haunted houses.
Yeah.
Go trick-or-treating.
Yeah. The haunted houses things are
there's some great haunted houses in St. Louis, dude.
Me and Dean have been through some I can't remember what city it was, but we went through one and it was an abandoned Costco. So imagine how big that was, and that's how huge it was. It was that huge. It was insane. They gave you these flashlights. They're all timed, so when you walk through certain rooms, it starts flickering, and then it turns off in one room. So it's all timed. It just goes so scary. My neck hurts when I leave. I'm so tense.
Yeah,
those are great.
I love that shit, man. I still love it. Did you guys see the documentary about the dude in Tennessee? Have you guys seen this haunted house where you got to sign all the waivers?
Oh yeah. He moved right. He moved states because he was illegal when
he wanted to. He tried to move to Illinois, back to where I'm from, close to my hometown, and the town said no. But I guess he's still. I just watched that documentary. It blew my mind. I'm like, this guy's basically just torturing people.
Yeah, 100%. Well, one guy did it, but he refused. Because doesn't he have to pay them a bunch of money if you do it?
$20,000, but it's basically at his discretion, so he can.
So yeah, I think one Marine or some dude that was like.
It was a woman.
Oh, it was a woman.
She made it like 6 hours, and then he was just like, "I got to pull you out. You're psychologically,
That's right.
You're at your peak." And she's like, "Fuck you, dude. I did it." And he's like, "No, you missed one. There was one more thing. I promise."
He like buries them alive and.
Oh yeah.
Makes them like eat vomit. I can't. It's like it's full as far as you can go. I think that's
suffocation.
insane.
He waterboards them a little bit.
Yep.
I'm not into that. I'm not signing up. But I mean, I would imagine that's like a fetish.
I started to get anxiety just watching or hearing about it.
I want to be somewhere where like they can scare me but don't touch me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
touch me and I will punch you in the face.
Agreed.
Touch me.
I agree on that. Yeah, I went to a really crazy Halloween massage parlor. They were touching the hell out of me. I mean, I think you just went to a massage parlor. No, it was scary, man. It was haunted.
It was like torture.
Yes, all these little gals came out of nowhere, just rubbing me down, up top to bottom. Yeah, man, I think you just went to a massage parlor and paid extra. No, it was a haunted house. So I was going to ask you guys, obviously, you get asked a lot of the same questions probably as band folk. It's first day of the tour. You're starting in St. Louis. I'm a comedian, and I kind of was talking to your drummer a little bit about this. Like, there's a lot of parallels, I feel like, between music and comedy, especially like the road life. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Except comedy's a little lonelier because you don't have bandmates. And at times that might be good, because I bet there's times you just like, I want to be by myself. But what's the, at this point in the game, like what's the road? What's the worst part of being on the road for your whole career? It's
pretty cush. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, our lives are pretty
chill.
It's pretty. Everything is taken care of at this point. You just kind of show up, and then everyone takes care of you. But I mean, it wasn't too bad. I mean, there was very little van life. We were lucky. Let's just say that we went pretty much immediately to a tour bus.
Oh yeah.
But I'm sure there's some horror stories. But
yeah.
We get it. Like, being in a band, we talked about this the other day, actually. Being in a band is so nice because, you have other people. It would be, I could see being just one person, like being an artist, that would be tough.
Yeah, comedy's a weird thing because the better you get at it, the lonelier it gets. Like, when you start out, it is all you and all your buddies doing open mics and learning how to do it. And then as you get good and start to book out, you're kind of traveling alone. So it gets can be a little lonelier on the road. Which,
you start seeing some of the same faces every now and again, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But
until you're famous enough that you're like, I can take my friends to open for me because I have, ideal.
Right.
Once you have the ticket sales, you can kind of do what you want, which is interesting. And so you guys kind of went straight to the bus life. I mean, obviously, I did my research, and I'm familiar with you guys. I know you were signed by Chad Kroeger, like early on, right?
Yeah.
Did that, and you guys transcend a lot of genres. Like, I feel like your music has it's changed over the years, which I think is cool. Like, I feel like you guys don't really paint yourselves into a box. Early on, was it tough? Were there a lot of comparisons to Nickelback because you were signed by Nickelback?
Yeah, huge. I mean, we were signed probably because we had some similarities. So I think there was a lot of stuff that probably he heard was like,
yeah,
because he liked it because it's probably what they were doing. But after the first record, we were like, we need to do something because it was getting really bad. To the point, like, we were doing interviews and people were like, what's he doing? What's
Chad up to?
What's he up to? Call him right now. Call him. It was like, all right. We couldn't even promote our band anymore. Yeah. We felt bad. We felt bad because we made an executive decision to try everything we could to try to separate, and which is kind of sad, but it worked. Unfortunately, it worked. So yeah.
You guys still pretty close?
No, but we talk once in a while. Like, I saw him recently. I text with him once in a while. Everything's cool.
Yeah.
I showed up to a show. I didn't tell him, but I showed up to a show and. When he was in L.A., and I just stood there side stage and all of a sudden he was singing, and all of a sudden he looks and he sees me. He's like, he just starts talking after the song. He's about, Tyler Connolly is here.
Oh, I was hoping he got you in the songs like, that's Theory of a Deadman.
Yeah.
Oh. Did you guys, early on, be honest, did you ever get mistaken for Nickelback, and did you accept the free drinks? I want to know.
No, I don't think so. But people always ask, like, "Wait, are you his brother? Your brother's cousin or something?" We're like, no, there's no relation. No, but no, never mistaken for him. But we have had, I think, probably songs where people are like, "You guys do this song?" We're like, yeah. Oh, that was Nickelback. We get it. It's fine. Like,
yeah,
we're not miffed. It's all good.
Yeah, you guys seem like cool dudes. Like, just from the onset of meeting you, you're very cool, very laid back.
We are very cool.
Just wait a while.
It's true.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't want to get that close. I want the facade. Give me the facade of your coolness. I don't. We're bearing a lot of scars in here today, though. Trying some childhood trauma bond, which
that's what happens when you sit on the chitter.
That's right, dude. That's why I did this on the
It all
shit.
comes
There's
out.
no more vulnerable place. I have dreams that I'm taking a shit, and it's never the shitting that. I'll be in the middle of a stadium taking a shit, and I'm not bothered by it. But as soon as I realize I have to wipe my ass in front of people, I'm just like, that's it. The most vulnerable position in the world is the moment you have to wipe your ass, and you don't want anyone to see that.
That's weird. That's interesting. I wonder what that is. I wonder if, like, psychologically.
Do you agree?
Wiping your ass? Oh, I don't know. I don't know if
that's probably the least thing. If I had to shit in front of someone or wipe my ass in front of someone, I would choose shitting for sure.
I hope you do both.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, if one or the other, if the cameras have to be on for one.
If you do one, please do the other.
Well, you travel when you're like, used to traveling as a comedian. That's the one thing as we do. We travel so much, like the airport. I don't know. You go in the airport and it's 6 a.m. and you got Chili's too.
Yeah.
You got these and people are drinking Caesars and beers, and then you go to the bathroom and it smells like death. There's 8 guys in there just erupting, squirty diarrhea.
It smells like the deep fryer.
Yeah, and you're like, and then you get on a plane and some dude's eating McDonald's beside you, and you're like, what are you guys? Are you guys
wrong?
insane?
Yeah, dude, I'm real. I have plane rules. I dress like I'm ready for the plane to go down. First of all, I'm in work boots. I have something.
In case you live and you got to trek through the woods.
If that's right. If we have to start a new society, I want to be in the running to be leader. Like, I'm ready to be in the emergency row, dude. Put me in there.
Work boots, a wingsuit.
Yes, I will have that door off so quick, and I will already be building a lean-to with it.
Would it be illegal to pack a parachute? If you brought one on a plane, would they be like,
they'd be suspicious?
Carry on.
They're like, what is this?
You
never know.
That'd be a funny bit, dude. Like, the only carry-on you have is a parachute.
Yeah.
Just don't explain it to anyone. Sit with it on your lap.
DB Cooper.
Could they legally, like, not allow you on the plane? You're like, well, you're obviously going to do something. You're going to
legally,
like, no, you just never know.
Legally, they cannot let you on the plane for whatever the reason they want.
They just don't like the look of your face.
That's true. And guys, I'm going to tell you something, and I don't want to jinx it, but for as much traveling as I've done, honest God's truth, hand to God, I've never taken a shit on an airplane. And it is a streak.
Really?
It's a streak I'm so proud of. I am when I know I'm flying, dude, I prep. Like, I won't eat. I'll make sure I take a big
Taco Bell in the airport.
I'm drinking, I'm pounding coffee before the flight. I'm trying to get I'm trying to mass exodus.
I think everyone's there. There is definitely some people that are looking forward to the flight.
I'm opposite. Let me in there for takeoff and landing.
Oh my God,
man!
Have you ever had a landing shit? That's amazing.
No, yeah, I'm the same. I will do everything I can in my power to not have to go take a shit. But there's nothing. The worst part is when you go into the bathroom of the plane and the person before you took a shit. So now you're in the situation
you're
where
gonna get blamed for it anyway.
Now you are the person that took the shit. You open the door and they're like, "Oh my God!" And you're just waiting, like, "It wasn't me."
Yeah, and
it's the flight attendant.
It wasn't me.
Had to been.
Flight attendant
had to be.
Took a huge shit. She ate Taco Bell.
It's her or the pilot.
Yes, and the harder you defend yourself, the more guilty you look. There's a lose-lose. You were kind of talking about something I want to circle back to a little bit, because you were kind of talking about having to break the affiliation with Chad and Nickelback for your own good. It feels shitty because I've had this happen. I've opened for like some pretty famous people, right? In my career, and it's always weird when you feel like people are trying to go through you to get to them. And it's such a growth, because you were saying, like, you would do interviews and they'd be like, "What's Chad up to? Get him on the phone right now." And it's like, because you're still trying to, like, find your voice and find your footing. And I would imagine that's tough with it's hard enough with like a comedian that's big where I'll have people like offer me money to take them backstage to meet like Trailer Trash Tammy when I open for her.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I'd be like, what a piece of shit I would be.
Yep.
Right.
My friend is giving me this audience and paying me to perform with her if I took your money to go inconvenience her so you can fan out and act like an asshole.
Yeah.
And
so
I'm
how
sure,
much did they give you?
They offered me $500 cash, and I was like, you know what?
Deal.
Let's go.
Let's go. Yeah. You got 5 minutes, but act like you are the janitor. But that was interesting to hear you say that because I'm sure that happened a lot, and that fucking sucks, right?
Yeah.
Like people trying to kind of like, there's climbers in every industry, and like trying to facilitate access to someone else through you when you're like, hey man, I'm just trying to do my art form. Like, how did you deal with that before you broke away? Would you like?
It was fine. I think it was frustrating, but you can't let it get to you too much, or all of a sudden that becomes your mission, and then that can mess with, what's really motivating you to be, have great songs, etc. You can't be motivated by that.
I think when you're new in the business, the whole business part of music, the music business is new. You're just a kid who's been playing music, and all of a sudden it's the music business. And so it is already strange and weird, and everybody's out to manipulate you in some way. And, you learn it over the years, and then eventually you start to realize, oh, I see what everyone's doing. I see what it's all about.
Yeah, man. The further you get, you kind of see it. And I think that's all industries, because it's like I did the Netflix festival this year and got to be like, I was in all. I don't get starstruck a lot with comedy, but I was like standing backstage at the Hollywood Palladium, and like Jerry Seinfeld, Jim Gaffigan, and Caroline Ray were just like chilling 5 feet from me, and I was like, "Whoa, that's crazy." But then I would watch not just artists, but also like people in the industry, like just scanning the room for a more important person to talk to. Right. You know what I mean? Where you're just like, oh, I'm just trying to be a human being, man. Like, I'm not famous. I'm here as a support act. I know that no one here is like, no one from Netflix is like, we don't even live in that industry anymore. They're like, there's no Jonathan Netflix with a big cigar in his mouth. It's like, kid, you got something special. Yeah. You're funny, and I'm going to make you a star. Like, you almost have to go out and court your own audience now. Do you find that is also true? I know that you guys have a big audience, but do you kind of feel like that is happening in music as well, where it's like, where labels used to push artists maybe, and I know they still do, but do you feel like, because I see a lot of artists that are filling up the same venues as artists that get a ton of radio play time that don't get any. Because they've went out and found their own. This happens specifically in like countries. You get the stadium country people that get all the play, but then you got guys like Sturgill or Jason Isbell and the list goes on and on. Coulter Wall, like some of these newer outlaw, I guess, for lack of a better word.
No, that's right.
But they're selling out the same venues with no support from radio play or from and it's like, do you feel like the industry is changing in a way of you kind of go out there and court your own fan base?
Yeah, it was definitely a difference. There's definitely the social media aspect with a younger audience. There's definitely a cutoff. So our fans are we have young fans, but a majority of our fan base is probably from the beginning or from maybe Scars and Souvenirs, maybe 2000, mid 2000s.
A Facebook fan base.
So Facebook, MySpace. We made that joke the other day about Facebook, and they're like, "What about MySpace? We got some fans on MySpace."
Well, and I mean, MySpace was around when we were first getting going, and I literally remember the label signing bands based on how many MySpace followers they could get, thinking, because it was the early days of like, is this what translates? So, man, they have 300,000 MySpace followers, and they're not signed to a label. Let's sign them, and then nobody cared. It wouldn't do anything.
Didn't translate into
Didn't necessarily translate because it was like, people were starting to figure out like not everybody that's a follower is a fan, or
right.
Everyone's just trying to figure out what MySpace is all about, and there's 300,000 people following, then somebody else will jump on board. It doesn't mean they're going to buy tickets to your show.
They find that a lot, where the radio thing, like we've kind of seen it all, right? We've seen it from the very beginning of CDs, where the label would ship a bunch of CDs, and you get, and you'd have one single that would do well, and then you get a gold record.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I think I did the math in my head. How many streams? You need 750 million streams to have a gold record nowadays. And I'm like, there's no way one song on that would do 750 million streams from any band ever. Like, it's not possible to have that in a cycle of an album. A year and a half period.
Yeah.
That's the biggest song in the world. If you had a billion streams song in a year, that's the biggest song, rock band.
And it's like 750 million to get a gold record now?
I remember so many bands like in the early 2000s or like late 90s would put out like one song, gold record, a couple songs, platinum record. I mean, speaking of like Three Doors Down, we were talking about earlier, like their first record had that Superman song, which was huge.
Huge.
6 million albums sold, which would be 1.5 billion times 6. Everybody knows what that is. 9 billion streams. It's just not possible. But back then, one song. I mean, they had other songs, but you know what I mean? Like,
sure. I mean, that was a song that
was
if you
the
say
big
Three
one.
Doors Down, someone's naming that song, and the general public maybe knows one other one.
Yeah, I mean, they had some big hits, like on the Lax record, they had even some big hits on that one too. But
yeah,
it's crazy. It's changed a lot. So now we just do it for the fun, kids.
Yep.
We don't do it for the mills.
yeah.
Do it for the drugs.
We just do it for the drugs now.
That's kind of like, yeah. I'm sure that there's some. I mean, you're playing the Factory here in town. That's a big venue. That's not like that ain't small potatoes. Great venue. It's probably nice too to like, settle. If you have a fan, that's all anybody really wants, right? Like, obviously, yes, it'd be great to be the Rolling Stones, and be able to sell out stadiums for 50 years of your career, but you're still, I have to remind myself of this sometimes, even with comedy, where I'm like, oh, you're still in the top. You're already in the top 5% of your craft.
Well, we've made a career out of it. I mean, we're 25 years
huge.
later. I think people still ask me that. Like, did you think back in 2000 that you'd still be doing this, 25 years later?
Right.
And it's like, well, in a way, we that was the plan. Like, we tried to make decisions based on a career of longevity. And
Right.
Instead of just being another Canadian band, we wanted to be an international band. We were like, let's get American representation. Let's make sure that we can crack that nut, and we'll come back to Canada.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of my point. Like what it's so easy to like,
Yeah, you want to be playing shows like T Swift.
100%, or you're just like, it's easy to get caught up in like the next brass ring. It's like 5 years ago, you get to all these benchmarks of your career. I'm sure comedy and music have these same parallels where it's like, oh, if I would have told me 10 years ago I'd be playing this venue, I'd have been like, we made it. We did it. Guys, we did it. But then you get there and then it's like, well, now I want to be playing this.
Oh, 100%.
I want to do this 1,800 seater. I want to do a 3,000 seater. And then you do the 3,000 seater and you want to do 10,000 and so on and so forth. And like, I think at some point when you have some longevity, you can just say, and I don't know, I mean, be honest with me, like how you guys feel. Like sometimes I feel like with longevity, you could be like, hey man, we won the game. Like we're doing the thing we love. We're doing it in front of people that appreciate what we do. Is there moments that you have to like step back and be grateful for that? Or
Well,
do you kind
COVID put it all in perspective, I think. It was like we were just living the life, literally released a record, and then on like the end of January, and then 1 month of February, and then it was like we all went home in March and never went back out again. And so it all became this reality, like, oh, what would have happened if it all went away? And then we all just became our own worst enemies and sat in our dark holes. But it all became clear again when we started doing these digital meet and greets where we were meeting fans and they were getting one-on-one time with us in our own houses, like just doing these meet and greets with fans, and to have them talk about the impact of our music sort of started to make it like irrelevant how many people were at the shows. Prior to that, it was like, man, this is what it's all about. Like these people are talking about, songs saving lives. It's, all of a sudden you're like, yeah, okay, you know what? It's what we do is really cool. and we do it on the level that we do it on, and we're very pleased with where we're at and the fact that we're still doing it. But yeah, of course, we want to play bigger rooms, but
Of course, yeah.
we know that there's people out there that appreciate the music, and we just want to bring it to them.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are crushing it. It's not like you're not playing a 50-seater tonight, like you're playing.
That being said, T Swift, if you need us to open,
oh, dude,
I mean, we'll be there.
same.
Who's T Swift?
Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Pretty close.
Thomas Swift.
We don't-
Never heard of him? Great author. Well, that's really cool, man, and I'm happy for you guys, and you guys are crushing it. You've been great guests. I want to ask one quick question, and then we'll move on. You guys are going to do a performance for us. Is that correct?
Sure.
What song are we doing today?
Country. I live my life like a country song.
Love that song, dude. Tell me give me a little backstory on that real quick.
I don't know. I can't. It was originally done on our 5th record on Savages, and Joe Don Rooney from Rascal Flatts actually was on it. He played some guitar, lap pedal steel, and he sang on it. But it was way too country. It was full country, and it's like the song was great, but it's just like we had this really heavy record, and then all of a sudden there was this country song.
Yeah.
So it wasn't our idea; it was someone else's idea to kind of visit it and make it more rock, and have our friend Corey Marks sing on it, who is a kind of an outlaw country guy. He's great. He's going to be on this tour on some later dates. So we just went and re-recorded it and made it more rock, more theory. It's a Theory of a Deadman song now. So it's a really good song. Like
It is a great song.
well
man.
written. It's really hooky. I'm glad we redid it.
Well, I'm an outlaw country fan.
Me too.
I'm on a morning show on a alternative station, and I love alternative music, but I had kind of an eclectic taste as a kid growing up. Like, I'd be going to school, and I was like, you heard the new Kids on the Block, Guns N' Roses? I'm like, yeah, but Steve Earle, Copperhead Road, you guys in? And they're like, get out of here, you fucking weirdo. We don't know what you're talking
Steve
about.
Earle, love it.
But I love
Great
that.
actor.
Yeah, he really was. He was great in, what was it, Tremaine or whatever that show was? And author. I read his book, and he's a pretty good author, too. He wrote like a book about Hank Williams' doctor, if you haven't read that.
Crazy.
It's pretty good. It kind of pisses you. At some point, I get a little annoyed when people are good at everything, but that's a me problem. Are you guys outlaw country fans? Did you grow up listening to any of that?
My dad was an outlaw country fan, so it was all the outlaws. It was the Willies, the Whalens, Johnny Cash, all those guys that were singing about the real life stuff.
The Hank Williams, is it 3? Hank 3 talks about his dad not putting his dad in the...
Yeah, they want the statue of
out front, but
Hank out front of the
the Country Hall of Fame or something.
And they didn't want to do it?
But they don't want to actually put Hank in the Country Hall of Fame. Yeah, I'm sure he's in there now.
Yeah, I mean, I know he got, was it the Opry maybe? He got banned from
Maybe.
the Opry.
That's what it is, yeah.
He got banned from
Yeah, and I could see, that's a weird family, too, of like how the evolutions of the Hanks, by the time you get to Hank the Third, it's like, it's kind of a wild, he's almost into like hard metal. And,
He does some metal stuff.
yeah.
I'll put the cunt back in country, the dick back in Dixie. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty outlaw.
Yeah, him and Wheeler Walker are doing which is fun. That's a whole nother genre in and of itself. But that's cool that you guys grew up with that. And that this song is packed full of as an outlaw country fan, when I listen to it, I'm like, yeah, the references are cleverly hidden in there. There's a lot of referential stuff that kind of nods your head, tips the cap, if you will, to a lot of those guys, to the Whalens and the Willies.
Also, I like Sturgill. You mentioned Sturgill, and he's like that. He's like, he just writes great songs, has an awesome voice, and doesn't play the Nashville game, but I think he's got a ton of credibility because he just has these amazing records, so he can go play those rooms.
Yeah, he just goes and counts his Grammys and gets no radio play.
Yeah.
Which is,
it's nuts.
It's interesting. He was just here, in fact. And, it's cool. I got to see him on the way up here on a small venue, which is always cool, too, because you never know, man. There's always those bands that you're like, I'll catch him next year. They're not going to blow up this summer, and then I'm a big Avett Brothers fan, which is another kind of weird.
I like them.
They kind of they sell out huge venues, but they don't really get played on the radio very much. And it's like, I didn't catch them their last time through the pageant, like 1,000-seater, and then their I Am Loving You album came out in like 2008, and then they were doing Chaffetz Arena, and I was like, God damn it, I screwed up. One quick question before we get to the song. We're gonna get you guys out of here. You guys are rock stars. You guys are
fully
Lotharios. You guys are. I always ask all my guests.
Guilty.
Especially your drummer. It seemed like you guys are playing D&D and he's trolling for Punani. Hey, look, his word's not mine.
Yep, print it.
Wow.
Print it. He's like, I go, what are you doing when these guys are playing D&D? And he's like, cool shit, like getting chicks, man. And I'm like, all right, brother. It's always the drummer.
I love it.
It's always the drummer just spreading it around. What is the craziest thing? Is he going to hate this?
No.
Hey, good.
Irrelevant.
Objection. Overruled. He's not here.
Yeah.
What's the craziest thing you've ever done for love? It doesn't have to be in the peak of your fame. It could be when you were a kid. I have done,
got married.
At heart. Yeah.
That is by far, that's the winner, kids. What's the craziest thing you've ever done for love? Got married.
Are you still married?
No.
All right. How long did it last?
Got sane. I think I was married for 3 years.
Okay.
She's still my best friend. It just turned out that the married life, it wasn't for us.
Mm-hmm. This is a tough life too. Like, the life on the road.
Sure.
It's a lot of people, they don't give the spouses enough credit for even giving it a go. Sometimes it's like, oh yeah, sorry, I'll be gone 9 months out of this year.
Yeah.
And I won't be there for your birthday anniversary. What? When's that? March? Yeah, forget about it. So it becomes taxing to try to make things work, and that's why you got to have a few kids, and then they're busy.
Here you go. Take care of my replicants.
Give her a hobby. Here
you go, sweetheart.
The problem is you got too much free time.
Take care of my clones.
It's probably easier now. I think that I would probably. My big problem is when I'm out on the road. Like I want to be out on the road. This is me personally. So I don't like to have a lot of connection with anything outside of the tour life. So like my big problem was like having the day-to-day communications with your other life.
Yeah.
It's the dichotomy of trying to have both lives come together.
Yeah.
I think people...
Worlds are colliding, Jerry.
Worlds are colliding. Yeah, so that's my problem was like when I'm out here, I just don't want to be on the phone every day and have to try to be a...
Describing your day.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I can't. I just want to be out here and be left alone. So that doesn't work. So, but maybe nowadays, you never know. Ladies, let's do it. I'm down.
He's not saying no. Tyler's not saying no.
Ready to make it.
Do you like D&D? Do you like Predator?
These are all gold. This is
hit Tyler up.
Yeah. Oh.
Honestly, man,
Dream date, Predator. Probably watching Predator, and then
my dad may be there.
A romantic date. We're gonna watch Predator. We're gonna play D&D. And we're gonna go to a haunted house. Who's in? I will say, dude, I get that. Like, I date another comedian, and we have high autonomy, which is great. They say like don't date another musician, don't date another comic. I'm sure you guys hear that all the time. But I think it depends on who it is. You have to be able to root for each other and not be rooted in jealousy. Like, that's the hard thing about dating someone like in the profession you're in is like, can you celebrate their wins when you're not having wins?
Is she helping you write jokes and stuff?
Vice versa. We bounce stuff off of each other, but it's pretty autonomous in that way.
Let's wonder.
And I would imagine it's like, and if you don't date somebody that's like in the industry you're in, even if they're in just some peripheral entertainment industry, like, it's just easier because they get it. You know what I mean? Like, It's kind of what Dave said. Like, it's sexy when you date a muggle at first, when you date like a girl that's a bank teller. And she's like, this is so cool. You talk in front of people and they laugh and you're sexy and I want to suck your balls. And that lasts about a year. And then about the 5th or 6th cousin's baby shower that you're like, no, I'm going to Tulsa to do a show for 80 people because I'm trying to,
And you don't get it. You don't get why I'm doing this in front of 80 people. You'll never get it. You don't get me.
Yeah, or it's just like, even if they get it, it just gets old. It gets old to them to have. They're like, well, I'm trying to, I want to watch Shark Tank and go to bed and cuddle with you at 8 o'clock. And I'm like, well, I'll be in Newark. Sorry.
Yeah.
And at some point, that is taxing. You know what I mean? And like,
What is it like dating another comedian? Is two self-deprecating people? Do you guys like literally see who can be more self-deprecating?
Yeah, it's more of those. It is a bloodbath of self-loathing.
I'm so not funny.
Yeah,
no, not as
I'm the
unfunny
worst.
as me.
I suck so bad. No, I suck so bad.
I'm fat.
And it's just both so horny.
Tell me a joke. Tell me a joke right now.
Yeah. Yeah, right in the middle of sex. I'm like, hey, does this punchline work? Yeah, it isn't. We're pretty autonomous on tour because to speak to what Tyler said, like a lot of times, like we might touch base. We don't necessarily talk on the phone every day. She's out on tour right now, and I'm like, there's days that she's doing a show. I'm doing radio in the morning. There might be a text like, hey, hope you had a good day. We don't put pressure on ourselves to do the 1 hour. Like we have to talk for an hour a day to keep the connection strong. Like we just assume that it is. And, the autonomy is kind of the gift that we give each other is like, you don't feel like I'm at home pouting because I didn't hear from you all day. I'm like,
It sounds very grown up.
We try. You try.
Guys,
There's days, I miss her. I'm sure she misses me. But do you feel like,
let me text her.
what's the rules? Yeah. Hey, Dave had your number. Should I be worried about that? No.
This is
Area codes,
pic.
baby. Canada don't count. It's the drummer I'm keeping an eye on.
Yeah, that's right.
And are you married, Dave?
I am married. Yep.
All right. What's the craziest thing you've ever done for love besides getting married?
I would say, it's the next step to have the kids. I mean, that's the step for love. You have kids, and then once you have kids, it's like there's a whole new kind of love that happens.
Yeah.
And then there's nothing you won't do now. A step in front of a bullet train, it doesn't matter.
And is your wife a business adjacent? Did you marry a school
She's
teacher?
brilliant. She's a surgeon. She's an OBGYN.
She's the ultimate muggle.
She is the opposite of me. We were polar opposites, and we joke that our kids got full brains because it's like I'm the left and she's the right, or vice versa. I don't know which is which. She would know that.
That is cool, man.
But yeah, so she's super smart and
That's free pap smears for you for life.
Yeah, very independent, very busy. She doesn't worry about my. I missed it.
Did you say pap smears?
Yeah.
I got it. I heard it.
Thanks. Sometimes I'm doing it for myself. That's cool, man. And man, it's interesting. How'd you guys meet? Give me a quick synopsis.
Literally just on the side of the road. We were playing. She was in Memphis doing medical school, and we were just playing.
So did she know you were a musician?
No, not when we met. I mean, I think she thought I was one of the crew guys outside of the bus.
Makes sense.
We just met like outside of the bus. I was stepping out to smoke a J. She was just walking out to like read her Bob Dylan book at the bar and have a beer, I guess. I don't really know. But she ended up having a beer on the bus, and we chatted, and then a year later we were married with a kid.
That's sweet. That's a good introduction to like meet before they see you on stage.
Yeah, I even said to her, I think we were touring with Bush. I was like, there's Gavin over there if you want to go meet him. She's like, what would I say to a guy in a band? I'm like, yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, he sucks.
You must be like, what are you, the merch guy?
Yeah, what do you do? I'm like, slanging shirts.
She's like, shouldn't you be rolling up that extension cord before you get fired? Was your ex-wife, who is now your best friend, Tyler, industry adjacent, or did we muggle out as well?
No, she was industry adjacent. She was an actress, so that was it sucked. It sucked. But it sucked because of at least with music, you can be artistic all the time. You can write songs, you can play music. But with like acting, it's like you go to an audition and you don't get the part, and there's just like this brutal depression, and I suck and I hate this, and I quit every time, and it's between me and another girl. Oh my God, this sucks, and you don't get it, and you're like, that was tough.
Yeah, and I have empathy for her because I go through that. Because the thing about auditioning as an actor is you only hear back when you get it, and you don't get it very often. You don't ever get any feedback of like, hey, what you did was fantastic, and we went another way because this guy just looked a little more like we wanted the character to look, but man, we really loved you. We'd love to see you come in again. They don't give a fuck. They're not,
Yeah.
They might think that, but you're never going to hear it. So you're left to your own devices to be like, God, I'm fat and a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I can't act. I'm not funny.
Yeah. It's terrible.
So I have empathy for her with that, but
So much rejection in those businesses.
yeah, it's mostly.
Yeah.
You know, it's 80, 90% rejection. I mean, comedy, too, to some degree. Like, you can go out and work. That is the one thing I'll say is makes it more like music than acting, is that I can go out and just work. I can go do a bar show if I want. I can get up on stage if I want to. And I'm the ship captain crew. I don't need a producer to be like, all right, I'll let you tell that joke. I'm like, I can just go do it.
Right.
But when you cross over into the acting world, it's like, you are at the mercy, and sometimes they're brutal, dude. It's a visual medium. They'll say shit to your face that you're just like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, you're a little fatter than we'd hoped for. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, well, I could leave. Dang. You can have that conversation when I'm gone. Yeah, exactly. I can lose weight. Yeah, but you're also a little uglier than we hoped for. I'm like, all right, well, we could have led with that, you piece of shit. Dudes, I appreciate you guys being on the show so much, and I want to go ahead and move on and have you guys play a song. You cool to do that for me?
Let's do it.
Rock and roll.
Because after a quick break from our sponsors, we're going to come back with a very special concert series and a performance from Theory of a Deadman. Hang tight. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the number 2 show. All my loyal, trusty members of the Bowl Patrol. We've had a blast, but I am ready. Nay, I am pumped to bring you the next segment. I love it when we get musicians in the studio and we can have them participate in a very, very special segment here at the number 2 show studios, brought to you by Tactical Laser Tag of 18 North Central. And that is a segment I like to call, listen up, NPR with your tiny desk concerts. You think you're something special? No, you're not. Because I got something tinier, all right? It's time for Tiny Stall Concerts.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You took it all, you moved away. Now living in a trailer by the interstate. Maybe the drinking made it worse. It got me through the night, but the morning hurt. My God, what have I done? Good at it all, but I need you run. Oh, where did I go wrong? Living my life like a country song. Oh, where I get it back? Living like I'm in a Willie Nelson track. It's bad, so sad. Ended up losing everything I had. Love left town and my whole world's gone. Living my life like a country song. Maybe I stumble when I walk the line. No one's gonna catch me on the other side. Got no friends in low places. This country boy's gotta make some changes. Oh my God, I'm so choked. Banging on the door, but the bar is closed. So where did I go wrong? Living my life like a country song. Oh, where did I screw up? Spent last night in my pickup truck. It's bad, so sad. Ended up losing everything I had. I've left town and my whole world's gone. Living my life like a country song. What I am, and it's okay. Rowdy ass redneck with the love for pain. Oh, where did I go wrong? Living my life like a country song. Oh, where I get it back? Living like I'm in a Willie Nelson track. It's bad, so sad. Ended up losing everything I had. I've left town and my whole world's gone.
Holy smokes, what a fucking episode of the show this turned out to be, man. We had a blast. I talked with Riz about old man strength. Got to interview and hang and kick it with Theory of a Deadman, and then they gave us a amazing concert performance in the Tiny Stall concert. I mean, what more can you ask for in a single episode of the number 2 show? I appreciate you guys hanging out and watching or listening on all the streaming platforms. And look, I know it's cliche, but I gotta tell you, it really would help me out if you could like and subscribe and share and leave positive reviews on Spotify or Apple or wherever you imbibe your podcast listening/watching. Whether you're leaving a comment on YouTube, I know that all sounds cliche. Share it with your friends, but right now I'm trying to find my genre. I get a ton of downloads every week, and I'm trying to grow this thing. And this is a weird podcast. I don't do true crime, okay? This isn't a cooking podcast. This is a weird podcast from inside a bathroom while you're sitting in your bathroom, probably, watching me on the toilet. This is toilet-to-toilet, direct-to-consumer. I don't even know if it's a genre yet. They don't know where to put me. It'll help grow the Bold Patrol to be even bigger, which will help us get guests and musical acts, and I'll be able to talk to you guys forever while you're taking a poo-poo or hanging out at work or driving in your car or whatever you're doing while you're letting me fill your ear holes with my nonsense, man. I appreciate the hell out of you. I had a blast. Until next time, I am Rafe Williams, host of the number 2 show, your best friend, everybody's lovable Captain Pork Steak, telling you, always pull your pants down before you poop. Never start with them on. Have a great day. Thanks for watching the number 2 show, everybody.